Hello everybody, I'm Krasi and this is my week for the 12 Ascendants, when I will be talking about the week from 11th of November until 17th of November including, and you will have the description of the 12 Ascendants under this video. So I will just make a brief overview and to tell you what is happening on the sky, and then we will start ascendant per ascendant, and the timestamps of each ascendant you will find under this video. So what is interesting this week is, of course, on the 12th of November we are having the full moon, and this is happening certainly every month, but it is important always because we're having these very potent to feel energies which work differently on each one of us. Some of us find these periods as very productive, very creative, very good for their work and emotional status. Others would feel it as destructive and not very positive. So see how usually the full moons work on you, but this full moon on the 12th will be happening on the sign of ARIES Libra, on the backside of Aries. So it's not so productive. And also let's remember that the month started in a bit disharmonious way, like the moon did not complete her cycle of 30 days. So also the moon is receiving the opposition of Mars, therefore it's not so harmonious. Now what is happening this week, interestingly, on the 9th already is fact that Jupiter entered his own sign of Sagittarius, where he will be meeting Saturn, Ketu, Pluto, and also towards the end of the month Jupiter is becoming invisible. Look at my other video where I'm describing exactly how this will affect us. Again, ascendant per ascendant, I'm explaining this. Also on the 11th of November, Mars is entering his sign of detriment, Libra, where his energies change a little bit because Mars is in Libra, is not that aggressive. He would be more structured. He would be more about organized skills and design and work. And he's meeting there what does not necessarily belong to his nature. So we're also seeing Mars in Libra, Jupiter in the same moment in his own sign of Sagittarius, and Venus is detriment in the sign of Scorpio. So this week indeed is a week that is not very harmonious, and so is the whole month. And the full moon is happening also in a lunar day. It is actually the 14th lunar day, which is the full moon is also not very harmonious. So it's not devastating, it's not tragedy, but this week to come is not very harmonious. This would say it's not so appropriate for new beginnings. Could be very good for spiritual work and to maintain our routine work style and just our routine deeds. So this is basically the most important for the week to come. Apart from that, nothing is so much changed. Saturn, Pluto, Ketu are still in the sign of Sagittarius, but luckily Jupiter is entering Sagittarius, so this will be a helping hand for people with ascendant Sagittarius, for people with descendant Sagittarius, for people who have Sagittarius on a key position, and people who have been suffering the influences of Saturn for quite some time. This is a really helping hand for them. Later on, when Venus joins, will also be very good. So this is just a brief overview of what to expect from this week. You know that I'm making also daily videos, and you can look at them. Also in terms of the Jupiterian transit, what is important is indeed I would recommend you to watch, if you like, my other video on his disappearance, because if you expect that while from November 2019 to November 2020 Jupiter will mean only abundance and beauty, he may change a little bit his nature for the period period of 2 months while invisible. Therefore, look at my other video, could be informative and useful so that you know what to do during this period. It's not bad, it's not devastating, but it's different. His nature is changing a little bit. Also, even though he's entering his sign of Sagittarius during his stay of these 2 months, November, December, January, actually December and January, even though he is in the sign of Sagittarius, I will not be making during this particular time frame the long-awaited Jupiterian talismans. I will be making them after he becomes visible in January 2020, because he will be his own sign and he will become visible for the first time. So very, very powerful. And this period of time I will be using for creating a very wonderful Jupiterian talismans. And also those of you who are informed and interested may look to my website via the link that will be under this video. So these are the things which will be happening this week. The sun is still in the sign of Libra, with this Libra is very much emphasized. Also via the full moon, which is happening on the axis of Libra, Aries, and I explained you what this may mean. Some kind of disharmony in relation to creating of new events, new starts, new businesses. We may need to be very structured, very well organized, and next month will be better when the full moon is taking place also in Taurus. Very interesting. So let's start with the sign of Aries now. Aries, what is happening this week for you? Very beautifully, Jupiter entered your ninth house to trine your ascendant, to give you support, spiritual support, to give you support to your studies, to your media work, to your spiritual awakening of your consciousness. On the very same moment you have in this week, Mars, Mercury and the Sun on your 7th house, and there you may need to be a little bit cautious in terms of be very patient and loving with your partner. Be careful when it comes to any kinds of partnerships. Other than that, the week can be financially good, more for your partners, can be very, very good and supportive for your studies and spiritual work. And travel, you may negotiate, but very carefully, be very structured. Now, also important to say is that this week is not very, very appropriate for new beginnings, but it's very good to maintain the status quo. It's very good to study, it's very good to travel. You may, absolutely. And yes, Jupiter from your 9th house is doing miracles. He's certainly supporting you and like protecting you in any good sense. So I see this as a good week for you, but just be responsible for in relationship with, like, be patient, diplomatic, and loving at home with your partner, and very intuitive in any partnerships. Okay, this was Aries ascendant. Now we're looking at Taurus ascendant. Now for you, this week, Jupiter is entering your 8th house, from where you are not directly experiencing his full blessing, but could be that he brings surprising incomes that you're not expecting, incomes through your partner, or could be that the financial status of your partner is very good and supportive also for you. Venus on your 7th house, being your ascendant ruler, but still on your 7th house, Venus can be very helpful for your love life, for your relationship, for your partnerships in general, could be good. Just be a little bit cautious when it comes to communication with subordinates. Be responsible for your health. Other than that, this week you may negotiate, you may travel, but the week is not very appropriate for new beginnings, that's for sure. So this was for Taurus ascendant. Now we're looking at Gemini ascendant. Now for you, Jupiter is entering your 7th house, and this is beautiful because finally he's softening the the tense energies of Saturn and Pluto and Ketu, and this is really helping hand for you and a relief, really relief. This is very good for your love life. So if you had some lessons and issues with your partner, could be that really Jupiter is coming to help. Venus on your 6th house can also be supportive in relation to health, and when it comes to improving communication with subordinates, can be a helping hand to your routine environment. Still, the presence of Mars, Mercury, and the Sun all together in your 5th house could be a sign that your love life can be a little bit too intense if you want, and there you may need to be a bit intuitive and loving, and also to communicate after really hearing this inner voice of yours. Be attentive towards your children. Be careful. The week is not appropriate for you to negotiate. Could be okay to travel, but be very well like organized, structured, like the discipline is the key word this week also for you. But this week is certainly not bad with the helping hand of Venus, with Jupiter entering your 7th house. Just be patient, diplomatic, and loving at home, attentive towards children, and your routine environment and your health are being supported for good. Okay, now this was for Ascendant Gemini, and we're looking at Ascendant Cancer. For you, the Jupiter is entering your 6th house, where he is meeting Saturn, Pluto, Ketu, and this is good, and helping hand towards your health, relationship with subordinates. So this is good. This is a helping hand, and it's also in relation to improving the energies of your routine environment. If they're hostile, disharmonious, Jupiter is entering to bring harmony and also to support your health. Venus in your 5th house is good for your love life. It's good for your desire to create beauty or to have pleasures. Oh, this is nice. Also towards your desire to get deeper into creative studies and sciences. You may need to be a little bit patient at home, and because some disharmonies at home can result into disharmonies at work. The week is not appropriate for new beginnings. You can travel, you can negotiate, but be very well organized and structured in every single activity that you will be doing. Health-wise, the week is okay for you. And now we're looking at Lion, Leo, Ascendant Leo. For you, Jupiter entered your 5th house, and if you remember, I've been repeating each and every time that you should be attentive towards children. You still need to be attentive, but Jupiter is also entering to give a helping hand. It's like the environment becomes softer and better, and Jupiter is really helping not only when it comes to communication and with children, but also in relation to your love life, in relation to those, if you are engaged in any creative studies, this can also be very, very helpful. Now, Venus on your 4th house is very supportive at home, supports your home environment, your relationship with parents, mother, home, partner. So this is good. This can result in good environment and communication at work. The week is okay actually it's not very appropriate for you to travel and negotiate. The week is also not appropriate for new beginnings. The week for you is good to maintain the routine environment and the status quo. Okay, this was for Leo Ascendant, and now we're looking at Virgo Ascendant. And for you, Your ascendant ruler this week is in your second house with Mars, and this of course can bring interesting desires and ambition and energies to make money, to get engaged into new projects, but this is not very appropriate. Also, Mars is into his sign where he is detriment, so he may be a little bit disharmonious when it comes to those new energies and desires to make money, to get involved into new stuff. This week is not appropriate for that. But you may negotiate, you may travel. At work, at home, the environment is receiving help in hand for Jupiter, and this from Jupiter, and this is very nice. Also, this can affect, influence for good the relationship with superiors. So your work environment may improve with the entrance of Jupiter into the sign of Sagittarius. So this week is good for your career, but it's not very good for new beginnings. Neither is good to communicate or negotiate or travel. Maintain the routine environment, be very organized and structured at work, and the week will be very good for you. And now we're looking at Libra ascendant, and remember the full moon is happening on the axis of Libra Aries. With this, of course, this axis is very much emphasized, always for good, just an emphasis. Now, Mars entered your ascendant where he is detriment. This would say this week will be a little bit careful, like don't get involved into risky situations, drive carefully. Mars is not very harmonious in the sign of Libra. He can create some disharmonies, distortions when it comes to your structure. He can afflict literally the structure that you know, the structure that you're used to. The week is other than that, if you maintain your routine for good, if you are very well organized and don't allow Mars to destroy your structure, the week is financially good. The week can be good to travel, but only if you're very well organized and plan your events. So the week can be okay to travel, to improve relationship with siblings if they were if they needed improvement. So in terms of making money, the week is okay. Be cautious when communicating, negotiating, traveling, and yes, give some energies to improve relationships with siblings if needed. And the week can be wonderful for you for spiritual work or work of enhancing your intuition, uplifting your consciousness and vibrations. The week can be very, very nice, especially with the entrance of Jupiter on your third house. Communication with people abroad as well, but as I say, new beginnings, negotiations, be careful. So this is for the sign of Libra, and now we'll be looking at the sign of Scorpio, ascendant sidereal. Now you're having Venus on your ascendant, but your ascendant ruler is in the 12th house, which would say the week, and Jupiter enters your second. The week can be very good financially for you, can be so that you may need to maintain healthy lifestyle, it's necessary. Could be that you be cautious when actually, no, these new beginnings are not appropriate. The week is appropriate for maintaining the routine finances, maintaining the routine work. Could be that you desire to be a bit in a self-solitude or isolation. This would be normal. Could be that you're not very open this week to communicate, negotiate, do media work. Oh, this is very normal. Just maintain your routine in a very good and structured way, and the week is okay. Not very appropriate to travel and to negotiate. If you feel lack of energy for a while this week, this is also normal. But on the other hand, Venus is giving you blessing and luck, and Jupiter is giving support to your financial and work activities. So I see the week as a good week for you, apart from the possible lack of energy when which, if you know of, you can control, or you can see more the nature or welcome the sun, and the things will come into places. So this is about Scorpio rising, and now we're looking at Sagittarius ascendant. Jupiter is entering your ascendant, where he is at home, true blessing. Look at my other video about Sagittarius ascending and Jupiter entering Sagittarius. So this is beautiful indeed. Jupiter on your ascendant finally is bringing you luck and support that you needed. The long awaited support of Jupiter is now fact on your ascendant, and this is really beautiful. This would say that probably you're already experiencing some improvement health-wise, relationship-wise, work-wise, which probably suffered for quite some time. While only Saturn was on your ascendant. Well, now Jupiter is on your ascendant. Now the thing is that he will be there from November 2019 to November 2020, but you may not feel his presence very, very much when he will be invisible in the period of December and January 2020, but still he will be on your ascendant, and this is very, very important because he will certainly be softening the heavy otherwise influences of Saturn and Pluto and Ketu. So Jupiter is there to help you finally and to bring the blessing. Now the week is fine for you in any sense. This week will be improving in terms of health. Could be that any area of your life that was suffering now will be improved slowly by this entrance of Jupiter. So the week is good for your health, could be good to travel, could be good to negotiate, not very good for new beginnings. So this is the important message I had for you. Now, this was for Ascendant Sagittarius, and we will be looking at Ascendant Capricorn. And for you, Jupiter is entering your 12th house. Directly, you may not experience his abundance and blessing, but he is meeting Saturn, and this is good. This can have very positive effect on your personality. Also, financially, this can bring some luck. Mars, Mercury, and the Sun at this very moment are on your 10th house, which would say be a bit diplomatic when using your speech, when communicating with subordinates. Otherwise, this can be interesting and positive and creative at work. Venus is creating harmonious aspect towards your ascendant, which is also blessing, can be good for your finances. So this week is not appropriate for you for new beginnings, can be good for maintaining the status quo at work, using your good discipline, organizational skills, and patience. But other than that, I see the week is good. And finally, Jupiter, who is going to meet your ascendant ruler on your 12th house, is bringing you support also in terms of health, and will give you better moods, and will maybe please your soul more. So this is about Capricorn ascendant. Now we'll be looking at Aquarius ascendant. Now for you, Jupiter is entering your 11th house, the house of gains, the house of the good spirit. So this is wonderful because he's softening very much the restrictive influences of Saturn and Pluto. And this is good for your finances, good for your relationships, good for your friendships, good for your plans, good for your gains. Can be really very positive in almost any sense. Venus on your 10th house can also be quite good and promising and positive for your work and career. However, the week is not very appropriate for you to travel and negotiate. Can be good and give you very positive energies to complete studies, to do spiritual work, to enhance your intuition, to maintain your intuition or improve it. So in this spiritual sense and study sense, the week can be very good, but for new beginnings, for travel, is not very good. For your finances is good. Career-wise is also quite positive. This was for Aquarius ascendant. Still, forgot to tell you, even though Jupiter is entering your 11th house, still remember to be attentive also towards your children. Now we're looking at Pisces ascendant. For you, Jupiter is entering your 10th house, and Jupiter is your ascendant ruler. And in your 10th house, he is meeting Saturn and Pluto and Ketu, which is actually very interesting and better. It's improving the career, improving the work environment, helping the whole horoscope. Like, it will improve your life for good, very much, because the 10th house is aspecting the ascendant, aspecting everything in your chart. So Jupiter is very good in your 10th house, because he's ruling your ascendant, because he's ruling your career. And this is wonderful. This can bring peace and better development at work. On the other hand, Venus, that is so much loved by your ascendant, is trining your ascendant. Wonderful. Could be that it brings luck from abroad. Could be that you have luckier environment, luckier study environment. In any sense, this is just wonderful. However, this week is not appropriate to negotiate, and it's not appropriate for new beginnings. Just maintain the routine and try to improve your career environment with the help of Jupiter now. So this was my week for the 12th ascendant. Thank you for your attention. Your comments are welcome. See you next week.